Hi. This is kind of a redo of the stuff that we covered during our first broadcast. Don't mind my cat. um, anyway, I think unfortunately what ended up happening was with the number of users we had in the chat, it just ended up slowing everything down. So unfortunately, there's a huge lag as far as everything that I wanted to show everyone. So the two things that we focused on were Google Drawings to create secret messages, and then also Google Drawings to create a scene with secret links. So right now, I'm just going to go ahead and switch over to my screen. Okay. Anyway, so I'm just going to go ahead into Google Drive and just going to demonstrate how you would create a secret message in Google Drawings. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on New and click on More and Google Drawings. And then from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on Insert and Word Art. And I'm essentially just going to type a bunch of gibberish. What I want to do is when I reach the end of the line, I'm going to hit Shift and Enter, just like it says use Shift and Enter for multiple lines. So here's my gibberish text. And we do want to hit Shift and Enter once you reach the end of the line. Otherwise, it will make a difference and just do one gigantic line. But we want to have multiple lines of gibberish text. So it's just going to take a moment for me to complete that. All right. Anyway, we'll stop at about 6 lines of gibberish text. I don't want any spaces, though. No spaces. Okay, so now that we have our gibberish text, we've got 6 lines, just going to hit Enter. From here, what we're going to do is we're going to make it bold, and we're going to change the color. We're actually going to click on Fill Color, and we're going to choose Custom. And then from here, what we want to do is we want to make it transparent. So kind of in the red family, transparent, probably a little less than 50%, and then click OK. From here, what we're also going to do is we're going to get rid of the border color. So I'm going to click on the pencil and choose transparent. So now we've got this semi-transparent text that's all kind of gibberish. So then what we're going to do next, I'm just going to resize it so it looks about what it should look like. Okay. Anyway, so that being said, what I'm going to do next is I'm actually just going to copy and paste this gibberish text. So I'm just going to go ahead and paste. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click and drag just to move this off of the original. I'm going to double click in order to edit it. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to take the text and I'm just going to edit the order of it. So I'm going to take this first line and I'm going to make it the second line instead. Whoops. So I'm just going to go ahead, Shift and Enter, and then paste. I'm going to take this third line instead, and then make that the fourth line. So again, Shift and Enter, and then paste. I'm going to take this fifth line, make it into the sixth line instead. So again, just make sure you hit Shift and Enter at the end, and then paste. And then hit Enter when you're done. We're going to change the color of this one a bit. We're going to go this time with a custom. We'll go with sort of a closer to a yellow transparent. So we'll just go ahead there and then click OK. We're going to stick that on top of the original text. So now you can see you kind of have like a little bit of a gibberish there. What we're going to do next is we're going to copy and paste again a third time. So I'm just going to go ahead, copy and paste. I'm just going to move again the new one that I just pasted so that it's off of the original. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to double click to edit. And this time I'm just going to go with totally new text. So go ahead, and what we're going to do is remember Shift and Enter at the end. Shift and Enter. And again, I'm going to want to make sure I have 6 lines of gibberish text. So there's my 5th line, Shift and Enter, and my last line, and then hit Enter when you're finished. We're going to change the color of this one. So again, click on the paint can. We're going to do a custom color. This time I'm going to go more into like the purpley red family. And again, go with, you know, kind of about a 50% transparency. And then we're just going to click on that, and we're going to put it up at the top. So now we've got all this kind of gibberish text lined up. What we're going to do now is we're going to download it as a JPEG. So I'm just going to click on File, Download as JPEG Image. And then from here, what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to click and drag to select everything, and I'm going to delete it. Then from here, I'm going to add an image, upload from computer, and you're essentially going to upload the JPEG that you just downloaded. So the reason that you want it to be in a JPEG format is so that way your students won't be able to separate the layers. So you'll notice now that everything is together. There's no way that I can, you know, change the layers. So anyway, I think so then what's going to happen, oops, I realized actually, I think I should have downloaded it as a PNG. White background. I don't want it to have a white background. So I'm just going to try that again. File, download as, we'll do PNG this time. Oh, whoops, I should probably get everything back first. Hold on, I'm just going to go ahead. Okay. All right. The other alternative you can do is you can group everything together, but then of course students will have the ability to ungroup it. So to group everything, just kind of draw a little box around it. And then you can right click or 2-finger click on your touchpad, depending on what kind of device you're using, and choose group. Anyway, I'm just going to try downloading that as a PNG instead, and see how that affects it. But we do want to make sure that we have the transparent background as opposed to a white background. So I'm just going to try this again. But again, you can also use the group feature. So here's my PNG. Okay, yep, good. The PNG comes out, yep, perfectly transparent, which is what we want. Okay. So anyway, then what we're going to do is we're going to add more word art, and that's going to actually have our secret message. So I'm just going to go ahead to insert word art, and I'm just going to put in a secret message. I'm just going to type in anything for right now. Okay. All right, so there we go. What we're going to do next is we're going to change the fill. I'm just going to go with like kind of that cyan color. It doesn't need to be transparent, although if you want to make it a little trickier, you can. We're going to get rid of the line here, so there's going to be no outline here. I'm also going to make it bold so that it matches the rest of the text. Anyway, so then what you're going to do, I'm just going to go ahead and scoot this over so that the text kind of lines up with our other text. And then from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to 2-finger click or right click and choose order and then send to back. Then if I use my arrow keys, what I can do is I can just use my left arrow key, and I'm going to hide my secret text behind the gibberish text. So you'll notice that it's pretty difficult to be able to view. So then from here, what you're going to do is I'm going to show you how to create the decoder. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do it in a circle. So I'm just going to go ahead and draw a circle down at the bottom of our drawing. And then from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to color it in with one of my semi-transparent red colors that I've created. I'm going to just go ahead and give it kind of a little border. Now from here, you can choose to give students directions on how to use this. So you could either add it as a text box, or you could have them figure it out on their own. So if you did something like that, you could say something like, I'm just going to go ahead and make this a bit bigger so that you can see it better. Something along the lines of click the red circle, then use the arrow keys to move. All right, so then we've got kind of our directions here, and sure enough, if you were to click on the circle and then use the arrow keys, and now we're just going to move it over to our message, you'll notice that it's still kind of difficult to be able to read. So if that's the case, then you might want to try using a little bit less gibberish text. But it kind of, you can see it a little bit more now. But depending on how hard you want to make it, you might use a little bit less gibberish text. So you can see if you move it over, it says, this is a secret message. Try to figure out how to decode. What I'm going to do right now, actually, is just going to go ahead and move this circle. So if you want to make it a little bit easier to read, I would say to just do 2 layers of transparent text instead of the 3 that I just did. I'll show you another example right now that that I created for my own digital escape room. That way, because this one came out a little bit better than the one that I just created. This one right here. And actually, there's a link to this in Google Classroom as well. So yeah, this one, I think it was just that the text was a little bit more transparent. And so if you take a look at this one right here, sorry, it's just taking a moment to load. This one you're able to read a little bit better. I think I just did a higher transparency on the text. Yeah, so you can see it's difficult to read when you're actually viewing it without the viewfinder. But then if you were to use the viewfinder, so I'm just going to go ahead and use my arrow keys in order to move the viewfinder. And I apologize for the fact that this is still loading. Okay. Okay, I'm trying to click on the circle right now. Okay. Anyway, now you can read this a bit better. So you can see it says start at Temple, unfortunately, Temple of Athena, Nike. There you go. Now you can clearly read it, but just to kind of show you what I did here is when I made my custom text, I think I just did it a little bit more transparent. Like I did it maybe about like a third of the way rather than halfway. So you kind of have to experiment a little bit with the transparency of the text to make sure that everything will actually be readable. So hold on, I'm just gonna undo what I did here, put my viewfinder back. So anyway, that's one of the Google drawings that you're going to be including in the final project. Next, what I'm also going to show you what to do is you're going to add a scene that has invisible links. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get a scene from the Archaeological Museum of Athens. So I'm just going to go ahead and search that up on Google. And then from here, what I'm going to do, I accidentally misspelled it, I'm just going to click on images. And then from here, going to go ahead and click on a link that has sort of an interior view. So for example, know, maybe I'll go with this one right here. All right. Interestingly enough, it's Egyptian artifacts, but just for the purposes of showing what we're going to do, I'm just going to go ahead and hit copy image. I'm going to go over to my drawing and I'm going to paste my image. And so then from here, I'm going to make the image take up the whole entire screen. I'm just going to go ahead and do like this here. Maybe crop out a little bit of the left-hand side. That way it fits our canvas here. Let's see. So about here. Accidentally cropped a little too much. Okay. So let's say, for example, I wanted to put a link that was invisible. So what I could do is I could create a shape. So for example, I'm just going to go ahead and create a circle, and I'm going to stick it over on this mummy's head. Then from here, I'm going to click on a link. So let's just say, for example, I wanted to bring my students to the actual Archaeological Museum of Athens website, or pretty much any other type of link that you wanted to include. What you would do is I'm just going to go ahead and click on all, go to the museum website. I'm just going to go ahead and copy the URL. And then from here, go over to my drawing. I'm going to click on the link button, which is right here, insert link, and then paste my link and apply. From here, what I'll do is I'll make it transparent fill and transparent line. So basically what will happen is students would have to actually rest their pointer. Notice how my pointer is just a white arrow, but then it changes when I go over to the face on the mummy. And that's because it's the link. So if I click on it, then it would bring me to that link and it would bring me to that website. So then from here, what you would do pretty much is just kind of include your invisible links. Now, as far as kind of what your completed version will look like, I'm just going to show you really quickly the one that I created, which I've also posted on Google Classroom. So essentially what you're going to do is eventually at the end of this project, you'll be creating a Google site that looks similar to what we see here, where you'll have kind of a description of what to do, as well as a Google form with all of the different lock questions. And so then from here, what I have is I have my drawing, and in my drawing, I have my hidden links. So for example, if I were to click on this map right here, that's a hidden link. And that's going to bring me to make a copy of the digital breakout room clue, which was what I just showed you. And I will be going over how to prompt users to make their own copies. So you'll notice here it brings you to the same exact clue that I just showed. And then from here as well, pretty much this, even though it says Google Slides, this is still the same premise. This is essentially a drawing that has invisible links. So for example, you'll notice when I rest my pointer on this Phaistos disk, it comes up with a link. If I rest my pointer in this top right display, it also comes up with a link. And that was done, again, the same process that I just showed you here with creating the transparent shapes with the secret links. So anyway, that's it for now. And I apologize for the fact that, you know, that everything was a bit slow and we had a lot of people that were on the Hangout at once. I'm hoping to be able to alleviate that next week. Anyway, that's it. So thank you.